Greetings, Sundering Survivors. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Bladesong. Episode 2, Making Community Connections. Outside the walls of Eren Keep, desperate souls gather in makeshift tents pleading for entry. Let's introduce ourselves to the neighbors. The tents near you are mostly occupied by unfriendly, suspicious folk. They spit on the ground when you approach and ward you off with threatening gestures. There is one exception, however, a young woman who actually smiles as you approach, though her eyes are haunted and hollow set. Glad to see you're feeling better. You were on death's door for a while there. You looked after me? Not exactly. I dragged you to safety after you fell off your horse. Thank you for that. No problem. The old woman did most of the work nursing you back to health. I checked in now and then, but she told me you were still recovering. Where is she anyway? I haven't seen her in days. She was gone by the time I woke up, and I have no idea who she was. Huh, strange. I assumed she was a relative of yours. Must have been just a kind-hearted old soul. Count your blessing. There's not many of those around in this camp. Lovely neighborhood, isn't it? She snorts a half-hearted laugh. Name's Shev, short for Shavana. But only my mother calls me that, and she's been dead for 10 years. She's painfully thin and covered in grime. Much like everyone else in the camp. She's the first person you've seen smile, though. What do you imagine goes on in Eren Keep? I'm starting to forget what civilization used to look like. It's safe in there. The Masked King looks after his people. Yeah, well, safety is a fair bit better than what we've got out here, isn't it? She lapses into silence. Somewhere in the distance, a scream rings out. You both try to ignore it. Do you know anyone selling materials I could use for my forge? I heard someone say there's a scrap peddler in the Lost City selling all sorts of things. Be careful if you go to the Lost City, though. That place gives me the shivers. A new location has been marked on your map, the Lost City. Say your goodbyes. Before you can leave, she grabs your arm. There is a wild desperation in her eyes. I've been stuck out here for weeks, and not everyone in camp is as friendly as you. Not sure how much longer I can last. Can you do me a favor? If you get into Eren Keep before me, find a fellow named Lucas Borina. He's my uncle. If he knew I was out here, he'd help me, I'm sure of it. Of course, I'll let him know you're here. Thank you. She rubs her eyes. Look at me, getting my hopes up. Lucas, remember the name. She lifts her hand in farewell as you walk away from her tent. Her smile is as fragile as porcelain. Scavenge for food. The tragedy of the applicants' camp is indescribable. So is the smell. There are no sewers out here, and not everyone bothers to go to the outskirts to use the latrines. Tucked away from the squalor, you find a pocket where desperation hasn't completely taken hold. Children are playing in the mud. A few scrawny chickens peck at the ground, miraculously uneaten. As you pick your way through the wary tracks, your movement from tent flaps, someone calling out to alert their neighbors to the presence of a newcomer. At the center of this little commune, you find a family crouched around a huge cooking pot, simmering with meats and scrounged vegetables. A little girl tosses a handful of wild herbs into the stew. Your mouth waters. Approach them. A father and mother, a gaggle of children, a grandmother with a face like an ancient apple, even a dog rolling on its back in the dirt, tongue waggling. They're rough-looking sorts, filthy and gaunt, but you're not exactly presentable yourself these days. As you get closer, the man twitches aside his cloak to reveal a heavy wooden club. His wife's hands darts to a dagger in her belt. The dog snarls, hackles raised. They all look at you carefully, awaiting your next move. Introduce yourself. Oh there, stranger. Name's Bennett Monder. This here's my wife, Trienne, and her ma, Gaida. I can take you through the names of the nippers too, if you'd like, but I get them mixed up myself. The young woman smiles wanly, withdrawing her hand from the dagger's hilt. The old woman just nods, her expression lost in a mass of wrinkles. The children cluster behind their father, peeping at you and giggling. And this mutt's name is Chlodo. He's a good boy. He keeps the vultures away. With the word vultures, Bennett's expression darkens. Cholo sneezes disdainfully. Vultures? Aye, human vultures. He doesn't elaborate further, but his shoulders stiffen. Pet the dog. The dog lifts up its lips in a snarl as you approach, but at the last moment it lowers its head to allow you to scratch behind its ear. Shlodo seems to like them. That's good enough for me. Good boy. Tail wags wildly, stirring up a cloud of dust. Pleasure to meet you, Bennett. I'll see you later. Away from the Mandonders, the atmosphere of the camp reasserts itself. Unfriendly glares, distant sobbing. You drag your coat close around yourself and hurry back to your tent. Return to your tent. You climb into your bedroll, massaging your swollen joints, and try to ignore the rumbling in your belly. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. All right. Bennett Monder approaches your anvil with Chlodo trotting faithfully beside him. The dog's tail wags in recognition as he spots you. Good tidings, Smith. Just thought I'd drop by to take a look at your forge. It's a nice little setup you've got here, ain't it? It's not bad. Aye, I'm impressed. He pauses to scratch Chlodo behind the ears and straightens with a sigh. To tell you the truth, Smith, this ain't a social call. I was looking to commission a blade from you. What brought this on? Camp's a dangerous place and getting more dangerous by the day. I could do with a good sword if I'm to protect my family. Any experience with weapons? With swords, no, but I can offer, but I kept order at my old tavern with a stout cudgel when needed. Drunk men are easier to handle than desperate ones, but I do know a bit about how to hurt a man. What can you offer? I don't have much coin, but I've got goods to barter. Stuff I've scavenged from old wrecked wagons and ruined farmhouses. My children, Tran, old Gaida, they're all depending on me to keep them safe. Smith, please, that's got to be worth something. So he's offering a gold pendant and a horseshoe, some steel and wood, and it's worth a fair bit of experience. For reference, I'm going to read the conversations between like story characters, but the random commissions, the procedurally generated ones, I won't, because they don't amount to anything. So he wants a regular point, one-handed, sharp, and wooden sword. Got it. Seems reasonable to me. Okay. If he wants it sharp, I'm going to make it much thinner, but then wider to hold a good edge. And I'm changing the tapered thickness. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me delete that. So the tapered thickness... I'm going to have the blade tapered more narrow at the point. Alright, and then the cross section. I'm going to make it convex. And then a little bit wider. Okay. Wants a regular point. We'll put one on. Pretty simple, straight longsword, if you will. We'll go to the hilt. Another of the cheaper square cross. And then we have some other parts here. Quillons would be like attached to the hilt with like end caps and the like. And I'm not looking to use more steel than I have to. So those aren't things that I'm necessarily going to add. And then we'll also do an oval grip, which satisfies the wood requirement. This grip is worth 2.5 wood. And then a pommel. And just like we did for the one of the other commissioned swords, I'm going to lower the polish level down as well. Right? If you're in a refugee camp, you don't want something looking very shiny. That's to your own disadvantage. So this is Bennett's sword. Bennett takes the sword with reverent hands. His weathered face lights up. Chlodos wags his tail. I don't know much about swords, Smith, but this one feels good in my hands. It makes a few careful practice swings, testing the weapon's weight and reach, while the dog watches approvingly. If you have any more vultures circling around my family, they'll find more than they bargained for. Between the dog's teeth and this blade, the Mandonders can hold their ground. Give my regards to your wife and the children. I will indeed. Thank you. I found this in the ruins. He produces a gleaming necklace, clearly valuable. This is too much, Bennett. I can't take this. Please, out of everyone in this forsaken camp, you're the only decent people I've met. We have to look out for one another. If you ever need anything, company, a hot meal, whatever, you know where to find us. And we leveled up again. So, I don't have enough XP for engraver. So in this case, I can either do left or right. Left is sword part scaling, and right is asymmetrical blades. And you can vote on that now. I'm going to use 2 of my action points to salvage the horseshoe and the gold pendant. And the gold pendant yielded 7 gold, which is quite a lot. That's a pretty decent amount of gold there. Gold, of course, is not coin. That's like a forging material, if you will. All right. Then the last one I'm going to make is a repair job where the balance of this blade is off. Basically, it's too front heavy, and it's not sharp, and it doesn't have a broad point. So let's lower the thickness. And now the balance is back in line with the request. Go to the cross section and sharpen it up. And that's not as sharp as I'd want it. And then go to the point and broaden it. Done. All right, looks like we're gonna go with sword part scaling. And that ends our working day. And we haven't made a lot of profit today, but we're still able to pay the bills. So tonight, we're gonna head to the Lost City, where the scrap peddler can be found. Tamori and Swimbob, thank you for the resubs. And Bryzit and Zippy and Parduk as well. Not all of Eren Keep was granted the Masked King's protection. In centuries past, the city spilled beyond its ancient walls. Now the barrier, which traces the wall's course, has left these outer areas to the mercy of the wastes. Nicknamed the Lost City, these crumbling districts have been picked over by countless looters. But rumors persist that there are worthwhile treasure to be found amongst the rubble. Seek out this scrap peddler. As night draws closer, the shadows in the Lost City come alive. Hidden eyes watch from high places. You scurry through the ruins, feeling as small and vulnerable as an insect. Fortunately, the scrap peddler is easy to find. He warms his hands over a blazing fire in an empty market square, accompanied by a sad-looking mule pulling a cart full of junk. He is an off-putting sight. Most of his face is bandaged, but the exposed areas are a mess of festering sores and flaking skin. You dread to think what the bandages are hiding. Not contagious, not contagious. The peddler points at himself as he shouts. One yellow eye peers madly at you through the gauze. All right, I believe you. No need to yell. The peddler nods, looking immensely pleased. I have many things. I find them in the dark places. I sell to you? How did you find all this stuff? The dark places call to me. I find forgotten things there. He points vaguely downwards. The mule retches as though readily to expire. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm surprised no one has killed you and stolen your goods. Ha, I'm good at hiding. If found, I cough and sputter and pretend to be contagious. The bad men run a mile. But I'm actually not contagious. I swears it. What do you sell here? Many things, much to be found for those who know. Can I see your wares? But it's too dark. The dark time is for taking my favorites, not giving. Come back in daylight so you can see what you are buying, yes? A new vendor is available from your forge, the scrap peddler. Say goodbye to the peddler. Partners forever and always, yes? His rotten grin sends shivers down your spine. I'm going to search the ruins for valuables. The Lost City has been endlessly picked over by scavengers. Your hopes of finding something are slim, but irresistible. Shards and rubble crunch underfoot as you trudge down empty streets. Sure enough, one by one, the half-collapsed shells of houses prove to offer nothing of value. Venture deeper into the Lost City. You come across a counting house where merchants once hoarded coin and tracked debts. It squats like a petrified toad between gaunt, grander buildings. Its faded paint flaking like dead scales. The door is blocked by a slab of fallen stone, as big as a man. On your way back to the outskirts. For a moment, you think you've lost your way, but then you spot a fountain you recognize. Its statue cracked and headless. Its remaining water just a puddle of black slime. You breathe a sigh of relief. This is familiar territory. The sun slips low in the sky. Shadows of the ruins lengthen. Time to leave. A bitter wind whistles through the ruins, stirring the weeds that cluster in the rubble. It sounds almost like a voice calling your name. You hurry back to the camp. Unlike the lost souls camped among these black ruins, you still cling to the hope of entering Eren Keep. A few hours past midnight. You've woken by a soft, silken hiss. A blade slices through the fabric of your tent. The fabric falls away to reveal a pair of gleaming eyes, a crescent of yellow teeth, a gaunt figure with a knife in his hand. He steps carefully into your tent, apparently thinking you asleep. Behind him are the dim shapes of other men. Each night you bury your tools and coin in a new location. There's not much in the tent they can steal. but they don't look like the types who will be happy if they don't find anything worthwhile. So, hey, what are you doing? Choice 1. Don't take one more step. Choice 2. Help! Thieves! Someone help! Choice 3. Or feigning sleep. Don't take one more step. The man freezes, his grin widening. Oh, awake is your... Might be easier this way. Hand over your coins, food, anything you got. His companions enter the tent behind him. 3 more men, all rail thin and desperate. The leader takes a menacing step closer. I have nothing worth stealing. Take what you want, just don't hurt me, or you picked the wrong tent. I make swords. You think I can't defend myself? The leader hesitates, but only for a moment. 4 against 1, Smith. Use your head. Option 1. Stop waving that toothpick in my face. You think you'll scare me, you scrawny runt, which is a toughness. Reach for your sword, which is finesse. Take what you want, just don't hurt me. Or I have nothing worth stealing. The thief pauses, eyes flitting across your muscular shoulders and strong, calloused hands. He attempts a smile. Let's get out of here, boys. Think we picked the wrong tent after all. The thieves melt away into the night, leaving you alone in your sliced open tent. That'll require a few hours of stitching to repair, but you're too tired to attempt it now. You manage a few more hours of fitful sleep before dawn breaks. You've just unlocked your first vendor. At any point during the day, visit vendors to buy resources and other items. You make your way through the lost city, the harsh daylight throwing the ruins into stark relief. The sound of your footsteps echoes eerily in the crumbling silence. At last, you reach the Scrap Peddler's Square, a rubble-strewn market plaza reclaimed by weeds. The peddler perks up at your approach, his one visible yellow eye widening with excitement at the prospect of a customer. I saved the prettiest trinkets for you, yes. I have some questions for you. Yes? What's your name? That's right, I'm a peddler. Scraps the game. What conditions are you suffering from? Nothing wrong, my skin just doesn't like me anymore, I thinks. Do you ever go inside Eren Keep? Guards say no. Say I make people sick, but lies. Not contagious, you see. Not even a little bit. Have you seen anything strange in the ruins lately? The walls make songs, sometimes they do. A beautiful, sweet song for the sleeping. Men with candles sneak out here to call up things from the dark places, but the dark places are not so easy to call, and I could tell them that I could tell them that if they liked, the dark places do the calling. How long have you been scavenging these ruins? Once I had a shop, a real shop with walls and a floor, and then... He gestures at the Benja's face with a gurgling laugh. Now I have a mule. Mules don't care about face. Mules support me through hard times. How long, you ask? 10 years? 17? How long does a mule live? So he is selling steel, leather, wood, sword essentials, which is guards and pommels, for 100. And we have 117, so probably can't buy a $100 book. Modular thinking, another $100 book. Twisted steel, yet another $100 book. Or coin, whatever. The pigment of saffron, to be able to pigment dye our stuff yellow. And then old tools. I am going to buy old tools for salvage. The scrap peddler dances around excitedly, his bandaged hands fluttering over his collection. The mule retches pitiably. Goodbye. All right. We have 8 action points. Kark would require 7 of them. There's a lot of salvage goods here. 540 experience. Lock-in would be the same effort. Natalie would be a 4. So if we have 8, it might make sense to do a 7 and then do a salvage, or do like a 5 and a salvage, because we have 1 thing to salvage. So if we do a 5 that offers other salvage, that's 2 things to salvage, and then we can do a repair. Now normally what I would do is, if I saw them offering something that was like a mystery reward, frequently I will prioritize the mystery reward, hoping it's like a book or something. But not all mystery rewards are books. So let's do Oliver's contract here for a stiff blade. A stiff short blade. So if it needs to retain its stiffness, it can't be too narrow. Interestingly, he doesn't even really care if it's sharp at all. But I'm not going to sell him a blade with no sharp edge. That's silly. But he does want it a narrow point. So he wants something sturdy and stabby. So hypothetically, I could give him this thing. But, like, this is absolutely not a blade any self-respecting smith would ever offer a customer. So I won't, but I could. I'm just saying. Let's go to scale parts. So in order to preserve steel, I'm going to do maybe a small sellsword guard here. And I'll shrink it down to use less metal. And it needs to be one-handed, so we'll just do like a small grip. Interesting, this customer doesn't even really care if it has a pommel, but I'm going to give it one anyway. I'll scale that down as well. And then let's do a cross-section. And I'm going to have the cross-section start here, so it's a tapered blade. Now, if we sharpen this too much, it could lose some of its stiffness. Oh, interestingly, it didn't. And let's make it rounded. Because a rounded blade is going to be a little bit sturdier, suiting his needs. Okay. And for edge thickness, let's have it keep its edge. Perfect. There it goes. A simple, weird sword. It's really a dagger more than a sword, so I'm just going to call it a dagger. And he loves it. Okay, I'm going to salvage the old tools for 11 steel. And the tankard for 8 wood, replenishing our steel and wood amount. And then we have 1 action point left over, which I will take a repair contract for Luhos, who wants his blade lighter. And, oh, it's, so this thing is like, it's a bit different. So it wants it sharp. So let's change the thickness of the blade. Well, maybe not that much. And then the cross-section for the blade is going to be sharpened. Let's change the width. Oh, so the blade right now is too heavy. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the back cross-section to this as well. Oh, that's the width. I see. That's not the cross section. Got it. So in order to lower, because essentially what I need to do is I need to lower the weight of this blade, but I don't want to fundamentally change the style of the blade. So there we go. We have met its sharpness requirement, but we have not met the weight. We also need to give it a regular point. Right now it has kind of like a broad point. There we go. So it's regular pointed, but it is still too heavy. So in order to cut down weight on this thing, I'm going to create a new ability here for cross-section. And it will be a cross-section... Oh, right. We don't have asymmetrical blades yet. I see. Alright. In that case, let's go to the hilt mode. Or no, let's go back to the blade and change its blade a little bit. So, we need to make it lighter. So I'm going to change the bladed's cross-section like this. That will cut down some weight on the blade. Because see, now the blade's almost as light as it needs to be. And then we'll change the width and thickness. Perfect. So now it is exactly as the customer ordered. Sharper, lighter, with a regular point. All right. And that's the end of today. Dennis, thank you for resubbing and gifting out some subs. And Lehman too. End the day. So we have 101 coin left over. And we can go staying at the Forge, Outer Gate, Camp, or Lost City. Let's head over to the camp again. Let's visit the Mandonders. Outside the walls of the Eren Keep, desperate souls gather in makeshift tents, pleading for entry. Head over to the Mandonders tent. You find the Mandonders family sitting around their bubbling pot of stew, the children laughing at one of Bennett's stories while old Gaida hums tunelessly and stares at nothing. As you approach, the dog runs towards you, barking. Easy there, we don't need to worry about the smith. Bennett offers you a wan smile. Don't worry about the dog, he's a good boy, keeps the vultures away. What's in the pot? Smells incredible. It only smells good because, from the looks of you, you haven't eaten a proper meal in weeks. Come on, pull up a rock, grab a bowl. It's a hugely generous gesture. Meat out here is as precious as gold, and this man has children to feed. Sit down and join their meal. It's hot and thick and rich with meat. It's the best thing you've ever tasted. For the first time in weeks, the hunger in your belly ceases its howling. Where did you find all this food? You see those big merchant caravans that come trundling through camp every day? A box of rations fell off the back of one of those. That's some luck, ain't it? That's a little risky, isn't it, to steal so much food? The man glowers at you. Let's not use those words, huh? In case the guards hear of it. In truth, I'm not sure I could do it again. The timing was perfect. The guards were distracted. The merchants had all caught the wasting fever, and I could barely lift their heads. You can't rely on that kind of luck. How long have you been camping out here, Bennett? Almost 2 months now. Every day I beg the guards to let us through, but they're not interested in the likes of us. They offered us a trade, though. They'll take our nippers in and keep them safe if Tran and I go to work ourselves to death in their mines. But then, who would look after old Gaida, eh? What do you think of that, Gaida? The old woman bobs her head, smiling vacantly into the crackling fire. She gives no other sign of having heard you. I agree. Gaida wouldn't survive out here alone. Aye, that's the truth of it. So we're stuck out here for the time being. Don't worry, though. We'll find a way to get ourselves past that gate. Have you heard of any rumors about how to get into the keep? There are smugglers who claim they can get you in. They charge an arm and a leg, though. And who knows if they're telling the truth. Maybe they'll just take your money and leave you dead in a ditch. Still, might be worth the risk if you can afford them. Some thieves snuck into my tent. They were after my coin, my tools. Aye, vultures. Lots of that ilk around this camp. What happened? Sent them scurrying off with their tails between their legs. Good on you. That will teach them not to mess with humble folk. Tell you what, Smith. I'm up with the dog, keeping watch at night anyway. From now on, I'll turn an eye to your tent now and then. Make sure that there's no trouble. Thank you, Bennett. That'd be great help. Anytime, Smith. We have to work together against these bullies. Pleasure to meet you, Bennett. I'll see you later. Away from the Mandonders, the atmosphere at the camp reasserts itself. Unfriendly glares, distant sobbing. You draw your coat close. Speak to Chev. You find Chev sitting outside her tent, gnawing at a chicken bone that's already picked clean. Nice to see you again. I'm just enjoying my dinner. I'd offer you some, but I'm still waiting for my sommelier to pair the perfect wine. How'd you end up here? I grew up far west of here, in Kurev. I lived in a beautiful port town. On certain mornings, the sea and sky blended together into one shade of misty blue. It was like looking out into the hazy abyss with ships suspended in the middle. Then, the sundering happened. Since then, I've been hopping from settlement to settlement, disaster to disaster. A few years ago, I heard that Eren Keep had survived. No better than survived. It had thrived. The safest place in the world, surrounded by a magic shield that kept both plagues and monsters at bay. The name sounded familiar, and then I remembered my dad used to tell me how his old fool of a brother had moved to Eren Keep to make his fortune. Not such a fool after all. I guess not. I wish our family had moved with him. In any case, that's how I came to be here. My uncle's the last member of my family left alive. I'm sure he'd take me in if only I could get through the damn gate. What do you know about the magical barrier? It appeared shortly after the sundering, right? At the same time the Masked King took the throne? I don't know much more about that. Sorry. Do you have a plan for getting into the keep? Of course. I've got a skilled team assembled with lockpicks and grappling hooks. No, I don't have a plan for getting in. I'm making this up as I go, and failing miserably. What's the latest gossip around the camp? Oh, you know, the usual things. Petty fights and thefts. People die and new people turn up from the waste to replace them. Tell me more about your life was like. Do I have to? Dwelling on good memories is beautiful but painful. Like gazing overlong at the sun. I understand. Thank you. Look around the camp. The camp is an appalling spectacle. An ocean of mud and flies, with gaunt men and women scraping a living amidst the filth. Not far from your tent, recent rains have swept away the soil on a mass grave, exposing glints of yellow bone. Only the rats are well fed out here. You climb into your bedroll, enjoying the rare feeling of a full belly. You offer a silent thanks to Bennett Monder and his clan before sleep steals you away. You are now well fed. So there are status effects that will happen. So well fed, for instance. A hearty meal has steeled you for the day ahead. Increases your action points and toughness. 1 day remaining. Thank you for tuning in to Bladesong, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming stream. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you on next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow blacksmiths.